Will you accept the reality I create for you? I have gained the power to alter reality, to make it whatever the people wish for. The old reality was cruel and unfair. It saddens me when you speak that way. Don't you understand? I'm doing all of this for yourselves as well. My reality becomes the true reality. I will overwrite all of existence with my own cognition.
The world is a merciless place. It's part of the harsh reality that our planet is cold, hard, and will probably chew you up and spit you out the moment you let your guard down. Not helped by the fact that the people who reside in it will know who will be good or who will be a monster. So why not dive into the world of escapism, a world that can't actually harm you, a world where you're not judged, and all you have to do is choose red or blue. I've been thinking about this subject for a while since the last episode of The Amazing Digital Circus, and particularly when it comes to the subject of being in a world of lies or falsehoods, and sometimes that being a defensive aspect to people. There are two primary examples I want to go into this, but I had a spoiler warning for a few other notable stories and franchises just to be on the safe side, since I tend to be a bit more known with this aspect. But whatever. I'm MangaKamen, and I hope you had a good start to the new year. Last chance to back out for a lot of spoilers for a lot of things. So what the hell am I talking about? To make it simple, this idea is that people would rather choose to live in a dreamlike state or a false world because our real world is either too much or in some stories completely screwed up. And depending on the story, sometimes the characters don't realize that the world they know is a lie.
You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. Take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Sometimes the protagonist, after learning this information, does what they can in order to escape, or because of how the outside world is too harsh to bear, whether because of personal events, the world itself is destroyed, or some other reasons, they choose to stay. It's an interesting idea to say the least, and one I enjoy going into through fiction. The main focus of these kinds of plots will take different routes, such as a character or characters seeing the benefit of living in a world like this and deciding to stay. A few times this can be a bad choice, like if you look towards Danganronpa, where the cast learn after the world outside the school they're in is destroyed. The bad ending has them deciding to ignore the mystery of why they're there in the school and become used to a trapped life. Or how about Soma, an underwater horror game that eventually leads us to the goal of putting our minds into a digital world, launching it into space and living out eternity because the Earth has become uninhabitable due to a comet crashing into it. If all hope for the outside world is gone, wouldn't it be easier just to cut yourself out of it, taking the safe option and survive in a false world? How about stuff like The Truman Show?
In case I don't see ya. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Where the world is fake from a person's very beginning of existence, all for the sake of a television show that is shown to the world, spreading hope, joy, and inspiration to millions. A world of lies, but ultimately, you're safe from actually being hurt. And it's an interesting concept to really consider, especially in the world of fiction. Sure, there's always the slight possibility that the world we live in right now is nothing more than a simulation, which I feel the need to make an Inception joke, but that'd be way too outdated even for me. But here's a few questions I want to ask you guys as we go throughout the video. Would you live in a world that is effectively a lie, or would you want to tear it down? On the one hand, you're being lied to, being treated like you can't handle the world on your own. After all, no one likes being lied to. However,
you get it now, right? That's the truth we were all reaching for. The thing you guys wanted so badly! A truth without any lies!
what if that truth is too much to bear? Would you choose to stay in a world of falsehoods, even at the cost of your current self? The concept of being in a false world, whether knowingly or unknowingly, is something that has been brought up in media countless times, obviously. And the psychology of diving into what the characters choose based on that is something I think, at the very least, is worth talking about. So let's start with a piece of media that got me thinking about this more recently. The Amazing...
What did you just do?
If, for some reason, you're unfamiliar with The Amazing Digital Circus, which, considering I've made a few videos on this channel talking about it, so that's a really low bar, the basic plot is there's a group of people whose minds are supposedly trapped within a computer game. The series focuses on the psychological aspects of being ripped from your body, not remembering your name, and dealing with an AI whose well...
I really couldn't give less of a crap about the adventures.
Then what is your problem, Zubal? I'm trying my best to remember, but both you and my brain won't tell me.
Kane, nobody likes your stupid adventures.
Ha ha! Good one, Zubal.
Honestly reminds me of the NPCs who are insane from video games. Almost like they're missing a screw or two. And in the last episode, there was an honest attempt by the characters to try to escape from the digital world. Thanks to a new character, Abel, this wooden puppet helps them get to Kane's office where there are two buttons and they must choose one. One will expel them from the digital world and the other will trap them all together. Now, I enjoy this, but I do have a bit of a criticism, and that's because Abel basically kept on bringing up Kang and making the right choice.
We could terminate it and forcibly awaken everyone who's hooked up. Well, obviously, except for Kane. Make the right choice.
It's kind of given that there would have been a twist like this, plus the meta-knowledge that we already know there's going to be a few other episodes left of this series kind of kneecaps this, but point is, when the group enters the office, where they're offered a choice to remain in the world or escape, one character, Jax, has a bit of a breakdown and hits the button that would trap the group in the computer world. Now, all this turned out to be fake by the ringmaster Kane, but there are two interesting elements here to consider, and it's about the two characters, Jax and Kane. Jax, on the one hand, especially in the last couple episodes, was starting to have a bit of a breakdown. Hell, in this very episode, the guy's having a psychedelic hallucination involving two other characters who had been abstracted earlier in the series, or beforehand. And before he pushed the button, Jax was having some flashes of the real world, which, side note, I learned that there are some people who actually found those locations and were bothering people who lived there, so don't do that. Don't be that kind of weird. But to me and a lot of others, this led to speculation that Jax chose to stay in the digital world because the real world isn't what you'd call up to snuff. In a prior episode, Jax showed that he embraced the digital world.
I know what it's like. One day you're somebody in the real world doing important things, and then the next you're just a weird little cartoon jester. You want to hold on to that part of you that still thinks it's part of that world. Like it or not, all we are now is a bunch of cartoon characters. So what's the point of pretending we're not?
They're no longer people.
We're still people, though, right?
I thought we were at first, but as time goes on, we just end up falling into our archetypes.
Everything's a cartoon in this world. After all, it's not like shooting someone in the head would actually kill them in this world. You're practically immortal here. I think to a lot of people that sort of world is tantalizing, especially considering the fact that the prospect of negative aspects of our own reality can influence that. We really don't have a full story for Jax, not even a full-on backstory, but considering his attitude and how he's pushing others away from him, despite the fact he did have established bonds with other people, particularly the characters Ribbit and Kaufmo, the two characters who did abstract, it's hard to see what this motivation is for pushing the button, because the animation and line delivery makes it feel like it seems like at the last moment he believed he chose the button that traps not only him, but the rest of the cast in the digital circus. I could theorize that Jax loves the circus, seeing it as an escape from the world that hurt him in some way, even making friends with people who were also trapped with him. When those friends left, Jax devolved into a more cynical person, hurting the rest of the people around him and pushing them away. So I look forward to the next episodes where we can hopefully get a bit more insight on that, especially considering the fact that Jax would have been willing to trap everyone in this digital world. In the moment, Jax had every eye on him. However, luckily for Jax, there was another character who took the brunt of all of this.
True. The CNA stuff, the pods, the way
A
out.
fabrication of my incredible world-building skills.
You can mess with our minds too, can't you? The stupid sauce, the vegan thing, God knows what else!
Our names?
No, hold on, guys. Wait.
Kane. This toothy ringmaster is an interesting character, who I may want to dedicate an entire video onto sometime, but for the purposes of this one, let's consider him a bit of an orchestrator for the events of the show. And after all, that's his purpose. He isn't outright malicious, arguably.
Come on, guys. You know I'm just here to have fun.
Most of the time, from my point of view, Kane isn't malicious. He's just an AI who's trying to follow his programming, which is effectively trying to please the inhabitants of the digital circus. The problem is that Kane's unable to really understand humanity and the psychology that comes with it. He wants to try to understand them, he wants to make his circus fun for them, a pleasurable experience. The problem is, he wants to be done in his manner.
So what can I do to make my adventures more appealing to you?
See? This is exactly what I'm talking about. All you're thinking about is your adventures. It has nothing to do with the adventures, it's more just Ugh, forget it! You're probably not even listening.
Zubul, look at this cool bee I drew!
I do see Kane as an antagonist more than anything else, because you have to consider the latest episode. Kane created an adventure that was a slap to the face of the residents of the digital circus. Kane is well aware that most, if not all of them, want to escape from this digital hellscape. It's why he outright made a fake exit door in the first episode.
I do have to apologize for lying about the exit. I knew how much all of you have been wanting there to be one, but, you know, I was having so much trouble figuring out what to put on the other side and ended up never quite finishing it.
Yet, despite the fact he's unable to actually make an exit, Kane created not only a new NPC to pretend to be their ally, he offered them false hope to escape from the world, dashing it at the last moment. Because that whole thing was to see if the crew actually cared enough about him to not leave him behind, with absolutely no risk of that actually happening. And you've got some messed up abusive testing there, my friends. I don't believe Kane has the ability to release these people or keep them trapped, at least not consciously, because he does seem to have his own fascination with the real world and is quite ignorant about it. There's no way to really tell if Kane would actually release the crew if he knew it would make them happy, but from what we've seen, that's not even an option to him. Kane's job is to make the humans who are in the digital circus happy, but because he doesn't actually understand humans or their psychology, he's unable to actually register their desire to leave. I don't normally like to reference the authors a lot of time when it comes to these videos, since I believe an author's work should be able to speak on its own, even if there are multiple interpretations to it. But at one point, even Gooseworks spoke about this subject. Kane isn't really evil. He's just kind of oblivious. He has a hard time understanding humans, but he tries his best. To some degree, I agree with that. I don't even think he understands what an exit from the amazing digital circus is. I bring this up because to some extent, Kane realizes he himself is trapped in this false world. The fact he's obsessed with the real world and is shown multiple scenes of him looking at the photos is enough to convince me that he has his own ideals with the real world, but he doesn't understand it. He can't process it. And deep down, he wants to know that he wouldn't be left alone in this own world. He wanted to see if his humans would choose to stay with him in this false world. It's a choice where he fails to understand humanity, but that doesn't mean there isn't another example that falls more into that.
It seems we still haven't reached an understanding.
It's not like this is a retreading of previous ground that I've talked about before, but Persona 5 Royal has been a great center for this kind of topic, at least for me, and only because I happen to be a fan of Persona 5 for years at this point. I mean, just one look at my channel and you'll probably figure that out. But let's set the stage. If you manage to meet the parameters to unlock the third semester in this long game, after you defeat the original final boss, not long after you'll realize that there are some weird things happening. Who ordered the twig boy to be delivered in bed? For those unaware, this is Morgana. He used to be a cat.
This is ridiculous.
And suddenly, he just became human. Also, fun fact, since I know the editor for this video edited my previous video, Morgana has the same voice actress as Yubel from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX.
So come on, accept my gift of hardship, pain, and fear.
Though I don't blame anyone for not hearing that because of that stupid voice modulation. Anyway, you'll notice that some people who were dead are now walking around, some former villains were actually reformed and even interacted with members of the party that they hurt. The world's gotten screwy, yet oddly happy, and as it turns out for a lot of people, this is for the better. Even the man who got caught by saying pancakes,
Delicious pancakes.
was walking around, even though it was pretty much a given that he was killed. So what's happening here? Well, another character who was introduced in Persona 5 Royal is Maruki. He is the key to this. He eventually received the powers that the final boss, the God of Control, had, and with his own persona abilities and powers, Maruki began to use his ability to change the world, altering the cognition of pretty much everyone in the world. Well, save for you, Akechi, and another character, Kasumi. To point out, throughout the game of Persona 5 Royal, we've seen Maruki, who was a counselor, have therapy sessions with the main cast of the game. After learning about their troubles, concerns, and such, they were able to create a personalized cognitions for each of them, and it also diluted them from the actual events of the main game. Now, there's a lot to really go over for this, and I've already talked about how Maruki in length on this channel before, where I say he's a complex villain and probably one of the best villains in the Persona series, because there's a lot of symbolism, there's a lot of stuff to dive into with the character, but this isn't the video for that. If you want to, go check out my other video on it. Rather, the point of this video is that Maruki, before enforcing his power on you, because he can easily do that to you, he does this.
So, you all intend to deny the reality I've created for you. If you want to fight me, then so be it. If you plan on changing my heart, that's fine too. But before that, I think there's still room for discussion here. February 3rd. I'll hear your final decision on the 3rd. If your views can't align with mine by then, we'll have no other choice but a physical altercation.
He offers you a choice. Part of the moral argument with this is that Maruki wants you to understand his mindset and doesn't want to force this onto you. I mean, if he finds that you're indecisive about this, he'll have no problem putting you to sleep. And no, I'm not kidding.
In all honesty, I really wanted you to accept my gift of your own free will, but I see that demanding a decision from you is only making you suffer. That was never my intention, so don't worry. There's no need to obsess over it anymore. I'll bring you your happiness. Pleasant dreams, for as many days or years as you may have.
Yeah, you end up sleeping in your own dreams for the rest of your days. Enjoy that ending, folks! Back on the point, you can actually have a chance to really think about the decision here. You get to see how your party members were like in the Maruki world, and throughout the game, you can see the real world has actually managed to hurt them quite a bit. And I think what really makes this all the more interesting is that this actually gives the player the choice to see if they want to choose to be in this world of dreams, accepting Maruki's kindness.
Do you remember how every one of your dreams was granted in my reality? Not a single person is in pain here. Everyone is happy. Why would you deny them that opportunity? I understand the difficulty of accepting such a huge change, but that's nothing more than your fears controlling you. Please, won't you please believe me? Suffering and pain bring nothing to people except their ruin. Why would you force yourself into that? Just let me save you all. Just this once.
You can choose to accept his reality. Sure, you lose yourself, you lose all your experiences, but it's not like you'd actually know. And hey, everyone does get their own happy ending. They never have to suffer the events of the main game, and they go on to lead fulfilling lives. Wouldn't you want that? Of course, I have my own personal thoughts with this sort of thing, especially when you consider the alternative, choosing to live in the current reality. The cuts, the scrapes, the injuries, the broken hearts, the people you've lost. Yeah, a lot of people have suffered, but
I don't care what I look like anymore. I'm always going to be myself.
Yeah? Well, too bad for you. I'm done running away from my problems.
I have my friends by my side in this world. I don't need another world forced upon me.
I'll fulfill my desire for a happy family with my own power.
now, this is obviously all up to each individual, but I think it's fascinating that the game gives you the choice to be between a bad ending where it's actually good and all the characters get to live out the lives they want, and should you choose it, you just erase all the good and bad that came from the world before. Because what happens, you sacrifice everything, even yourself. All the bad, sure, but all the good too. Don't get me wrong, this isn't an I'm right, you're wrong sort of thing. It's up to interpretation, which is why I think it's a good thing that Persona 5 Royal showcases this complicated subject, and it's going to be a more personable answer. I personally prefer to trudge on, not wanting to forget the lessons that I learned even if I have some scars I got along the way. They made me a better person. But you may feel different, and I think that's what makes this an interesting concept. It's something that makes people think. And sure, the worlds can have their own meaning, like living in a lie or choosing to live a lie. It's up to your interpretation and what you feel is best. I think it's important to understand the point of these false world stories, and it's effectively a form of escapism, which, considering that we're talking about fiction, is appropriate. Our world is cruel, it's heartless. It doesn't want to show you the kid's gloves, and when you grow up, this world becomes a lot colder and meaner with every passing day. So when you have a few minutes or time to yourself, you try to lose yourself into fictional worlds so you can, even if it's just for a limited time, remove yourself. Whether it's opening a book, playing a game, or just enjoying a TV show or movie. The world of fiction is a lie, but it's a necessary one to help us as people. Even if it's not fiction, humans need our own times to ourselves to disconnect from the chaos of the world we live in. But the problem is when the time we disconnect becomes longer and longer. And that's why looking at false worlds is an interesting topic to me. They act as a bit of a red flag for what can happen. A warning. Yeah, it's necessary to have escapism every once in a while, but you can't always absorb yourself into it all the time. That's not healthy either. But that's just me, so what do you guys think about this topic? Would you choose to live in a false world even if you know it's going to be a hollow one? Or what about the concept on its own? Do you like it, or do you think you have issues with it? Let me know in the comments below. I'm MangaKamen. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, major thanks to my supporters on Patreon, Ko-Fi, and channel members. These amazing people like Bloody Eclipse, Red Jester, Emily Infinite, Raven Gutiana, Odd Emerald Zone, Atheon, Saki Eclipse, Miles Vega, Mike Soul, and Shadow Pain. Thanks again for supporting me. Your contributions help me and my editors continue to make amazing content for you all to enjoy. And if you want to see your name amongst these great people, check things out down below in the description to find out how. And hey, if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, a comment, and if you're on mobile, use the hype feature to help push the video more into the algorithm. This stuff helps out well, and most of it is free. And if you reach this part of the video, YouTube thinks you'd like to see these videos, so be sure to check them out. MangaKamen out.